Good afternoon. This is Sahara bringing you the Mini Minute. As you may know from previous YouTubes, last year I started having visions when I was waking up, and they usually come true within a couple of days, sometimes a couple of months. It took me a while to discover why. It had a lot to do with hemi-sync sounds and binaural sound and music, and I was wearing a headset when I slept. But that's another story, and I want to make a YouTube on how to do this because I'm just another bozo on the bus, and I've always been intuitive, but this is from outer space. So I began to explore why, because they're coming true. Not all things, of course. So right now, we have the trial of Paul Manafort, and he is kind of a canary in the coal mine. How this trial goes kind of dictates how things are going to go for Trump and his cronies. So the jury is out on recess for the weekend. We're in day 14. I'm not influenced much by this trial. I've not been watching it, except it it looks like the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. Maybe things are going to straighten out politically with this trial. A lot of people feel that way. I don't know anything about Paul Manafort except he's been labeled as a thief and a traitor, but I don't know. The political climate now is you really can't trust anything. Now, the dreams I had, let me get some visuals on those. These three visuals were kind of a mystery to me, of course, but I've had to trust, just put it out there and wait. And in today's climate, how am I going to be more ridiculous than the President of the United States? How am I going to be more outrageous? So it kind of gives me courage to step forth. I saw several things in reference, and I don't even ask for it. I wake up and there it is, a flash, a quick flash. I've learned to write it down very quickly and record it. I got several things for Manafort. Um, I got a picture in my mind of Lucille Ball. She was looking quite beat up, as if she had been beat up, like in a barroom fight. That confused me because that was not her personality. Um, she was kind of actually a hardworking lady, much loved. We have, and also I saw Frank Sinatra, and I got a flash of him. I had a feeling right away that his undoing was his smoking and his outrageous lifestyle. Um, and then I saw a cigarette butt, and it was out. Now, I remember cigarette butts that were out like that were called dead soldiers. So it's a dead soldier. We have somebody that died from drinking and smoking, and Lucille Ball's husband, who she loved very much, Desi Arnaz, died from a crazy lifestyle, smoking, drinking, chasing women. You know the story. So, and that was very heartbreaking for her. So then I got the word, after I saw the cigarette butt, I got the word roll over. Okay, now what can that mean? Lots of things. Um, I looked it up, and it says that it means that when you're being challenged by a big organization, you roll over or give in and stop fighting. It's also a term used for finances. You can roll over um, things, one account, one like IRA to different kinds of accounts. You can move money around um, in different kind of accounts and IRS rollovers. So there are different financial terms and also rolling over. The next thing I got from Mr. Manafort, like I said, I've not been following his trial. It was my understanding he went to jail for a while and he was throwing up. He was so upset. No wonder. He's lived a high lifestyle. And also, as my understanding, he's in financial trouble. I'd say he's in big trouble. Whatever it is, I don't know. But these dreams, they're not always influenced by what I know. The next thing I saw was Ronald Reagan. Okay, so now I'm getting a lot of people from a previous era. Many of them are baby boomers and are born at the middle of the last century. And Reagan was, I think he was born in the 30s. So, so I don't know what the connection is between these old movie stars that were quite iconic and uh, Paul Manafort. I must have tuned into a bygone era. So maybe that I feel that Paul Manafort and his cronies are part of a bygone era. That was the only way I could feel that it was part of people that felt like, well, they lived high and they lived well. They never did anything really terribly wrong. Not like the people in charge now. They've broken every rule. But what they've done is they're part of a bygone era. Um, and, well, there were a lot of people. Hitler was part of a bygone era, so I don't know why I'm getting. Movie stars are much loved, but they're a bygone era when life was very different. You could do whatever you wanted, disrespect the environment, live high, and values were a little different too. And so I got Ronald Reagan in reference to Donald Trump because the Paul Manafort trial will probably roll over into um, the many trials that are going to come up with Donald Trump. And I started off my dreams last year with visions of Donald Trump, and I had many foretellings about that. And these dreams are because of the headphones I was wearing. Let me emphasize that I've tuned into a cosmic radio, so I don't want to put myself up there well, let's see how I do. It takes a lot to step out there. Now, when I saw Ronald Reagan in a flash, and it was in reference to Manafort and Trump's probable trials. I saw Reagan when he was facing the Iran-Contra trials. By the time it came for him to get on the stand, he had left office and he had been successful. He had done some Republican things that were not good for the environment or the economy, but he was not malaligned like our current leaders, and which really Reagan did what he thought. His intent, he had a good intent, not correct but good. It's such a difference. By the time it came time for him to go to trial on the Iran-Contra trial, he was guilty. He was caught red-handed with this whole mess of illegal arms trade to fund an illegal war, and all kinds of subversive things. Uh, by the time he got on the stand, he left office. He'd already shown signs of Alzheimer's, and when he was asked by the judge and the lawyers what he knew, he said, quite honestly, he did not remember. And yes, he really did not remember he was at that point at a stage of Alzheimer's when you have no memory left. He was the Teflon president to the end. That no matter what they said, nothing would stick to him, no matter what, and that's the way it was for him. So he was. This is another picture of Ronald Reagan. He was a kind of a cowboy president. So that was a message I think was going to happen with some of these trials. By the time they get to trial, these people have things wrong with them. Like um, Donald Trump could be legally insane, or there will be. That's what I felt when I saw Ronald Reagan. By the time these guys get to trial, especially Trump, they're not even. They're good. They're all in their mid 70s, and they probably won't remember all the stuff they did. So that's a get out of jail for free card. So those are the few things I got from Manafort. And what does all that mean? Um, that he's part of a bygone era. You can't pull that anymore. And the people in charge had gotten used to. Um, they always had their hand in the candy jar, and they just went too far, and they all got caught. So stay tuned for my next mini minute. I have the nice things I got in my dreams for two ladies that are truly part of a new wave and a new era. Alexandra Cortez and uh, Stacy Abrams are two new young women on the scene, and they're part of a blue tide of change. And so that's a little more refreshing than trials, but stay tuned. If you want me to do a YouTube on how I do this, I would be glad to. We're coming into an age when these things will be much more common. We're in a new age of Aquarius, and we're going to start communicating more with the cosmic airwaves. It won't be that unusual. So I wish you all sweet dreams.